we're going to start the toolbox project, which is actually a sheet metal part that you're going to do in Metals 1. So to start everything off, we're going to go to New, and this time instead of picking Standard, we're picking Sheet Metal. There's a lot more things we can do with this. Before we get started though, we need to go to Sheet Metal Default. So we're going to uncheck the thickness from Rule, and we're actually using 24 gauge sheet metal, which is 0.0239 as the thickness. Select OK, or Apply, exit out, and now we can start to make our faces. And this is something where we're going to make this a little different than anything we've made in the past. First off, we're only going to make the very bottom of the box. So this is going to be 11 inches long, and I think it's 6.5 wide. Let's go back and check our drawing. It is, yep, there's our 11, there's our 6.5. Perfect. So we're only making this bottom section here. Finish your sketch. Now we're not going to hit extrude because this is sheet metal. We have different rules. We're going to hit face, and it's going to make it the exact thickness that we already set with the 0.0239, and that's again for your 24 gauge sheet metal. Alright, now we're going to add something called flanges, and if you pick the top of this on either side, you can add a little flange to the front and the back, and these are going to be a 1/2 inch tall, so 0.5. Select OK, right click, let's make a new sketch on here, and here is going to make a line. This needs to be 45 degrees. And it trimmed a little funny. Let's go back and cut that off just using the trim tool. Go back to line. Let's complete this shape. We'll do the same thing on this side. There we go. Oop, and it did not let me connect those yet, so let's do that. And I just want to make sure this is a 45 in here. So we'll adjust that as we need to. Let's finish our sketch, and here we're going to cut. We're going to choose our two triangles, but we're going to set the distance here to all, so we'll get both sides at the same time. And now we're going to add flanges to the top edges here. These are going to be a little bit taller, so instead of calling this 2.25, we're going to call this 2.75. It's the total height. Let's make a new sketch on here, and we are going to make a couple of lines. Dimension these a 1/2 inch from either edge, so 0.5. Same thing here, 0.5 from the left, 0.5 from the top. Oop, something went wrong. Oh, it's already set to 0.5. Cool. So use line. Let's close off our triangles. Let's finish this, and we are going to go back and cut, same as we did before. We're going to pick the two profiles that are on the outside, change the distance to all, and click OK, so it cuts both left and right side at the same time. We're going to make a sketch on the inside face here, so you have to use F7 or right click and select Slice Graphics. Same thing. Just to see this one side, use line. Let's draw a line that goes all the way across here. Finish your sketch, and now that we have a little fold line, we're going to click the fold button. We want this to be folded all the way over 180 degrees. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the other side, so let's take a look at it. Right click, new sketch. Let's use slice graphics, so F7 is the shortcut. Create line, go from corner to corner here. Finish your sketch. Let's go to fold this again. On the line, 180. Looks good. Alright, now we need to add a new sketch onto the back of this. We're going to add the side pieces on here. So we're going to use a rectangle, start right there at the top, come down until it's lined up with the bottom. This is a 1/2 inch wide. I'll put this on the left and the right side. 0.5 for the width of that. And then we're going to use our line tool, come down here at a 45-degree angle, which it's not doing very well for me, so I'm going to do tab 45, tab back, make sure I'm connecting where I want to connect. Use my line tool again, do the same thing to this side. There, it snapped. Alright, so these are both at 45. If you don't believe me or if you're not sure, you can just dimension in between them, click the two lines, and it'll show you the number. It doesn't want to show that. Alright, let's delete out that because it gets troublesome. Use trim. Shortcut is X, by the way, for trim on your keyboard. I want the other side to look just like that, so let's go back to line, choose a corner, make sure this is 135. It's the opposite of a 45, so here is 45. From here all the way over is 135. Here my angle is 135 again. Let's delete this out. Trim, trim. We're going to finish our sketch. And here we're going to face this again. Click OK. So now we're adding material. Let's add material to the other side. Right click, new sketch. And I'm going to cheat just a little bit by projecting geometry of this line and this line. Switch back to my line tool, go from corner to corner. Again, you want to make sure you tell Inventor exactly what you want it to do. So you're going to make sure you complete your shape here. Put it in all four sides. Don't assume the little yellow lines are going to complete it, because a lot of times they don't. Alright, so I have both the left and the right side again. Finishing my sketch. I want to go and face those. So I click on both. Click apply. Right click. Let's make a new sketch here. So I right click and I use slice graphics again. This time I'm going to create a line from top to bottom, left and right. Well, tell you what, we'll just do left once and then right once. We can only fold one line at a time anyway. So switch to fold. That doesn't look right, so let's change how it's folding. You want to fold in, and this time the angle is going to be a 90-degree angle. So click OK. Let's make a new sketch for this other side. F7 is going to be your shortcut. Create line, top to bottom. Finish your sketch. Fold. That looks good this time, so click OK. Let's look at the other side here. Right click, new sketch. F7 to get rid of all that. Create line, top to bottom. Finish, fold. There's your bend line, and let's change the way it's folding. Good, 90. Okay, one last one. New sketch. F7. Oop, and I completely missed there. So Control Z is an undo. Let's create a new line. Top to bottom. Looks good. Finish your sketch. Fold. And select OK. Alright. So the cool thing about all of this is if you go create flat pattern, this will show you exactly what this would look like if you were starting from scratch. You go folded part and it folds everything up for you. It's pretty neat. Couple other things. The reason why these were folded over like they were, anytime you're dealing with metal, especially sheet metal that's this thin, it's very sharp. So you want to fold it over so you have a nice smooth edge you're not going to cut yourself on. It's almost razor sharp if you leave that there. These we cut at a miter at a 45 so that when you fold it up, it's going to look good. So the sides kind of come together there. And I'll also point out quickly, because I know you're probably done with this video and you've moved on, but the reason why we have notches here, if I go back to my flat pattern, they actually take little tiny chunks out of this all over. And this is something you are not going to do in the shop, but if you did want this to look really nice, this is what you would do. We just don't have the capability for it. We have laser engraver or laser high power lasers that would cut this out if you're actually using this in the workplace. But it makes it so that when you go to make these funny little corners, they don't bend over the top of each other. And I'll show you an example in class of what the physical part looks like. So we are done with this. Let's make sure that you save this. And you need a new project for this. I haven't made a new project folder for myself yet, but I'll make one now. Let's go and call this not sheet metal box. How about toolbox? Sheet metal. Toolbox dash sheet metal. Save. And here, instead of part 13, let's call this bottom. Okay, done.